All right, two ideas for today. One, a pretty easy one, although some people think it's hard. As a matter of fact, some people have been working on this little riff for about 20 years now. But I think we're going to solve it in this lesson. So one is fairly easy. The other one, not so easy, but doable, I still think. Okay, the first one is going to be a fill from Boston in a song called Don't Look Back. It's got a little hi-hat riff thing in it. The second one is a two-measure fill by Vinnie, playing with a big band called, the song's called Gift with Purchase. So we'll get to that one later. First, we'll tackle the Boston one. Friend of mine, student, Big Frank, has been trying to do this fill since about, I don't know, I'm going to say, 1992. I don't think it requires this much time, however. I think it can be learned in about, 10 minutes. It just requires a little practice. And I'm smiling because Frank's smiling right now watching the video. But anyway, so we can work on this fill. It's really an easy one. It just depends on the sticking you use, which he refuses to take my advice and use the sticking that I recommend. But it doesn't matter what sticking you use. So that's the first thing. So I'm going to play the song, if I can find it here on my doohickey thingy. Okay, we're going to do Don't Look Back. We'll start it from the beginning. Okay, so that's the fill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, that's basically it. It falls on a different part of the beat actually in the song, but that's the lick. Okay, so it comes in. It's a. 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 E, a 4 E, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Okay, so that's the way I play it. Okay, when I first heard the song, I don't know when it was, probably back in 78. I learned the riff. It took about 3 minutes, but I learned it, Big Frank, I learned it that way because remember, when I'm teaching, you always stick with the traditional stickings, right? So you're playing 16th notes, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and falls with your right hand, E and Us with your left hands. Now, you know I'm a big sticking guy, and you can change the stickings and do whatever you want, but if you can get away with just naturally playing the stickings the natural way, you're so used to playing that way that it just makes sense. However, sometimes it's more difficult. So with Big Frank, it's a little more difficult to play that hi-hat riff with his left hand. 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a. So the E and the E of 3 and the E of 4, right, is where the accent is. So naturally, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So the E of 3, E of 4 normally falls with your left hand. He doesn't like to hit with his left hand, so he starts it so he can accent it with his right hand, which is okay. 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a. But then your left hand needs to crash on 1, right? 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Right? That makes sense. But again, if you adjust the sticking one more step, you can do a double stroke with your left hand on the end of that phrase and then crash on 1 like this. 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. That's it. So that's the groove. just how you want to play it. Again, the first way, and I don't know how Big Sib Haitian, I think his name was, his hair was about this big back in the day. Do you remember Jose Cardinal, former Cubs outfielder? He would run down first base, his hat would fall off, and all of a sudden his hair would be this big. One of my favorite players of all time. His hair weighed more than I do. Well, probably not, but it was close. Hang on a minute. Okay, anyway, Big Sib Haitian, big hair, right? Back in the big hair days. Big hair is something I've never known, and I can never relate to. A lot of rim shots in this episode. Exciting. Okay, anyway, his hair has nothing to do with the riff, however. So the riff, again, 3 ways to play it. The first way, I would think traditional way, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, natural sticking. The second way, trouble hitting the accent with your left hand, so then we reverse it. Instead of starting the fill with our left hand, we start the fill with our right hand. 1, 2, 3, and a 4, and a 1, right? 1, 2, 3, and a 4, and a 1. And then I did the double tap with my left hand to crash on 1. If we continue the sticking that we started, we would have to crash with our right hand. 1, 2, 3, and a 4, and a 1, 2, 3, and a 4, and a 1, 2. Okay? So no matter which way you play it, sounds the same, right? That doesn't matter. I'll play it all 3 ways if I can remember. Remember, no editing. All right, I think I played it 4 times. But within those 4 times, I played all the different ways to play it. Today we have our second camera. I'm still working with the second camera, high tech. So we're working on that. Hopefully we could get that mixed into the mix here. But anyway, that's the Boston fill. Okay, don't look back. We're going to play it again because I have the ability to do that, I think. All right, so one more time from the beginning. The big Boston, don't look back. Here we go. So that's the Boston. 1, 2, 3. That's basically it. He might not even play that many notes. He might play 1, 2, something like that. But you get the idea. So you should be able to play that. You work on that 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. And of course you hit the bass drum with the open hi-hat. You know how much I love the electronic hi-hats. So you hit the bass drum to give you that sizzle sound, right? You don't play it open. You have to bring the hi-hat in with that. So 1, 2. Okay, so you can just work on that 1, 2, 3, E, and 4, E, and because all you're doing is playing straight 16ths. 1, 1, 2, 3, E, and 4, E, and instead of playing it on the snare, 1, 1, 2, 3, E, and 4, E, and 1, 2, 3, E, and 4, E, and 1, 2, 3, E, and 4, E, and that's all you're doing. Okay, so whatever sticking you do, you're just moving your left hand to the hi-hat to make that accent. Okay, it's kind of a cool riff. It doesn't take 20 years to learn, but it's a cool lick. Okay, so now we've got the Vinnie lick. Okay, this one might take 20 years to learn. No, I did it in about 20 minutes, which is about 18 minutes more than it took to learn a Boston riff. But it's kind of it's I can't play it as fast as Vinnie. Vinnie plays it at about 120. Okay, if you go on YouTube, you search Vinnie Colaiuta "Gift with a Purpose," and you'll find this fill. It happens at about, I'm going to try to find it for you. It happens I think right at about a minute. He's playing with a big band, and it's just awesome. There's 2 riffs in it. It's not a riff, it's a fill, but there's another 2-measure fill where he does these flams. I call them flam 7s. I don't know. You can call them whatever you want, but it's phrased in 7. So I was at the school on Friday, and one of my students, Anna East, was working there at the desk, and then the other drum teacher, Mike Curran, came by, and I showed him this fill, and of course, you know, I was pretty excited about it. And there's no reason not to be excited about it. I mean, it's Vinnie. It's a 2-measure fill. He's phrasing things in 5s, I think, and then the flam one is in 7s. And so you got to watch it, because even the guy in the sound booth, when you watch this, after Vinnie does the fill, right, you watch the fill on YouTube, and then they cut back to the sound booth, and the guy in the room just throws his hands up in the air. And of course, I've done that for 25 years watching Vinnie. But he does the fill, the guy just throws his hand up, the other guy's like charting things out, and he just smiles and looks at him, and, you know, that's why you get Vinnie, you know, to do the session. So the Vinnie fill, you know, it's one thing to copy the Vinnie fill, which, like I said, it took 20 minutes. It's another thing to be Vinnie and play that fill in the midst of, you know, this big band chart. And I don't know how long it took for him to think about it or play it, or maybe about 2 minutes. I don't know. But, you know, there's a huge difference in copying somebody and then being the guy who just comes up with that. So, but us mere mortals can copy him, which is exciting enough. So I'm going to play the fill. It's at about, it's within a minute of the song. I'm going to back it up a little. I think it's about 50 seconds in. I don't know how loud this is going to be, so I'm going to make a quick adjustment just in case. One more time, because it's too cool to only hear once. Okay, so that's the Vinnie fill. Pretty cool. If I play it for the students this week, everyone, if I play it correctly, everyone, including Anna East, has to walk out of the rooms with their hands up in the air, just so I can get a little bit of a feeling of what it's like to be Vinnie. Okay, so the it's 16th note triplets, big fan, as you know. So the thing is, once you get past the first grouping of notes, then it's like these groupings of 3, and then you just repeat it twice. So I don't have a groove scribe of this, but you can find this online, the printout. You can go to Austin, what's his name? Austin Boucham or something like that. He does all those Study with the Greats videos, and some other guy came up, you know, told him, hey, you gotta check this lick out. So he transcribed it. So instead of me doing the groove scribe thing, you can just go and check this out all on your own. Okay, so I'm going to play it a little bit. It's 16th note triplets, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so that's the feel. Vinnie again does it at around 120. So the main thing is the first hit, right? You got this hi-hat thing, which again, electronic hi-hats. The sticking is right, left, right, right, left, right to start, right? No editing. But I do have a new stick right here. Okay, so that's the first one. 16 note triplet feel. So one to ta, one to ta. Okay, so then after that, after those group of 6, after you hit this here, you're going to move around the drums 2 strokes with each hand. Okay? You're going to do one more back on the snare and then do a kick. and then you're going to repeat it. Okay? That's really the hardest part, because then after that, after you do that grouping, when you finish, you're actually on beat 2 of the next measure. And then you play just a series of 16th note triplets on beat 2 and 3, and then the big flam on 4. Okay? So 1. That's the whole fill. Okay? Okay, ends on 4. But remember, the first 2 just repeat. Again, right, left, right, left, right, right, right? That's the first lick. Right, left, right, 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 left, right, right, left. On the floor tom, right, left, right, right, left. After that floor tom hit, 2 hits between each movement on the toms, right? Left, 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 left kick. Left, 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 left kick. Left, left, sorry. Left, 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 left kick. Okay, then after that, it's 2-ta-ta, anta-ta, 3-ta-ta, anta-ta, 4. Now you could phrase that however you want, okay? Actually, Vinnie does it on the snare, mainly for beat 2, and then he moves it around the kick. But I think the important part of the fill is on the third beat in the second measure of 16th note triplets, to end that with a bass drum kick. So 3-ta-ta, anta-ta, 4, 3-ta-ta, anta-ta, 4, 3-ta-ta, anta-ta, 4. That kick is really hip. I think that's what gives it that bottom and that kind of heaviness and that big flam. And I think Vinnie actually does a flam and ends up on the floor tom here. Okay, and then the song just starts, right? But it's got that killer fill. Okay, so like I said, Vinnie does it at around 120. If you put your metronome on at around, I don't know where you would start it, but I'm going to put a metronome on at around 100. Okay, so we got 1-ta-ta, anta-ta, 2-ta-ta, anta-ta. Okay. Here, we're ready to go. No editing. 3, 4. Hang on a minute. I'm out of control. Okay, that was it, kind of. Okay, we'll try it again. And again, that's on 4. Now I'm going to do it again. Believe me, I'm going to get it here. I'm going to turn it up to about 105. Okay, where are we at? We're at about 18 minutes. By the time 20 minutes comes, we're going to be done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait. Aha. I'm playing it way too slow. Okay, that's the problem. Hang on a minute. Okay, that's the problem. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to try to slow it down. I'm not used to playing it slow. It's kind of weird. But I'll try it again here. I'll try it at 90. Let's try it at 90. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 3, 4. 4. Oh, sorry, 1. So we'll do it again. Ready? 2, 3, 4. go. Ready? 2, 3, 4. 4, 1. Okay, so I did it right the other times. I just kept saying 4 when I should, or 1 when I should have been saying 4. So that's it. So that's the Vinnie lick. 1. Slow. A little more the normal tempo. That's around 110. I can't quite do it at 120. And I don't know if I want to put the time in to try to do it at 120 because I'm not sure when I would play that lick. However, it's a cool one even at 110. Boston riff. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 with the bass. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay, and then the Vinnie lick. One more time. Right? I'm going to walk out of the room now. I'm hoping someone else walks out of the room. I'm going to test everybody. When I play that fill for you this week, sticks should be flying. People should be walking. Wait a minute, where's the button? Or better yet, you play the lick and I'll walk out of the room. You hear that, Anais? Big Joe? Big Mike? Big Frank? Tommy Schreiner? Willie from Texas? Send it to me. I think something's blinking over there. I wonder if the video turned off. All right. Vinnie, gift with a purchase. Boston, don't look back. Don't look back at Vinnie. It's a new song.